Hello and welcome. My name is Nate from Video Games Recon, and now that the Black Ops 3 beta is done and dusted on all platforms, in this video I thought we'd discuss my top 5 best or favourite things from Black Ops 3 so far. Obviously, as my thoughts and opinions are based mainly from the beta, many of the things discussed might change come full release. FYI, the footage in the background may or may not be relevant to what I'm discussing at that moment, and of course this is all just my humble opinion, so as per usual feel free to post your thoughts in the comments, but do try not to lose your shit should you happen to disagree. Anywho, without any further ado, let's do it to it. In at 5 we have the balancing of the game and combat in general. For the most part I found this to be good, which is particularly impressive seeing as this is just a beta and things are already fairly decent in terms of balancing. So with the data they've gathered from the beta, things should bode well come full release. However, there are a few weapons and so on that probably need a tweak, be it a nerf or a buff. For example, the P06 sniper and silencers in general could probably do with a buff, whereas the Haymaker 12 and the Drakon could probably do with a slight nerf. However, the things that could do with tweaking the most will be the specialist streaks and some of the kill streaks, in particular specials like Glitch and Rejack, and kill streaks like Raps and maybe the GR unit. Anywho, I digress. For the most part it has good balancing so far. 4. No lunge knifing or panic knifing, as you now need a 2-hit strike to kill someone outright, unless you damage them first or have a combat knife equipped in your secondary slot. Now this for me is a double-edged sword, pun not intended, because as much as I hate being killed by a cheap panic knife, I appreciate being able to panic knife some poor, unsuspecting fool who happens to run into me and catch me unawares. However, looking at the bigger picture, it will most likely improve the gameplay as a whole and make close quarter combat based more on skill than luck, and stop melee kills feeling so cheap. 3. Handguns are, well, good. Feels like a long time since I've said this last. In fact, off the top of my head, I can't think of the last time handguns actually felt useful without having to build an entire class around them. Maybe Modern Warfare 3? For the most part, they often get overlooked and are rarely worth equipping, aside from maybe with a sniper class. But in Black Ops 3, all of the handguns felt valid and actually worth equipping. This is something I appreciate, as usually they just end up collecting dust in my inventory. I just hope they don't get a nerf come November. 2. The movement and feel of the game. As although now they've implemented jetpacks, wall running and the especially cool underwater swimming in combat, the game as a whole still feels very reminiscent of Black Ops 2, which was one of my favourite Call of Duty multiplayers of all time. So probably a good thing. The way they've done this seems to be more about level design than abilities. For example, a map like Stronghold is near identical to Black Ops 2 in terms of gameplay, and any change due to the abilities is barely noticeable. However, if you take the time to learn all the routes on a map like Evac, it offers a far more unique way to get about, and this can dramatically affect the way the game plays and feels, both in good and bad ways. Whilst maps like Combine seem to bridge the difference between the two gameplay styles, and maps like Hunted offer a different dynamic due to the interesting traversal via water. I don't know about you, but I'd like to see a DLC map based entirely around underwater combat. I think that would be hella cool and an awesome experimental map. So this approach to level design offers an interesting way to tackle the new movement abilities in Black Ops 3, as you can choose whether you want to play essentially Black Ops 2, or whether you want to try something new based purely on your map choice. Which I think is a smart way to tackle this issue and see what people want, as if you don't like the new abilities then you can play Stronghold, and if you do then play Evac. I just hope this choice is reflected in the other maps come launch. Before we get into our number 1 and best or favourite thing from the Black Ops 3 beta, here are a couple of honourable mentions. The paint shop. Although I didn't really spend a lot of time messing around with this feature, it's a really cool way to customise your character, and I can see how a lot of people are really going to be creative and have a lot of fun with this, just as they did with player cards in previous Call of Duties. Next we have dynamic blood and gore. Now you can dismember, destroy and generally turn your enemies into pink mist, as there's now as much gore in this game as a 90s slasher film, which really adds to the morbid wonder of blowing up an enemy player, particularly with an explosive weapon. And now last, but by no means least, at number 1 in our list we have my current favourite weapon from Black Ops 3, the Drakon Sniper Rifle. This gun is an absolute beast and is verging on being OP. I rarely if ever snipe in COD games these days, but this thing is so good, and if they don't nerf it too bad, it will most certainly buck that trend. As not only do I have a lot of fun with it, but I actually do alright in try-hard matches, which previous to this was rarely the case with sniper rifles. However, that said, it is perhaps a tad too strong, as previously discussed in my first impressions vid on VGR Extra. As I discussed in said video, there may well be a way of rectifying this without ruining the very thing that makes this gun good. And that would be to shrink the magazine size so as to make you think about your ammo and pick your shots, as opposed to just spamming till you get the kill. As a 20 round magazine for a semi-automatic sniper rifle with a fast fire rate is way too much. That said, I love this gun and look forward to pissing some people off down those long sightlines come November. So, that was my best or favourite things from Black Ops 3 so far, courtesy of the beta. What things did you like most about the beta? Feel free to hit me up in the comments. And there will be a link on screen and in the description to my next video, which for balance will be discussing my top 5 worst things about Black Ops 3. So this just leaves me to say, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, share and subscribe for more BS of a similar nature. Thank you and goodbye.